Imagine your garden beds not just surviving winter, but thriving through it, emerging vibrant and ready for spring naturally. For centuries, Korean gardeners have mastered this, developing secrets to protect their soil and plants from the harshest cold. What if you could unlock these ancient techniques to transform your own garden this winter? Fellow gardeners, let me share something that completely changed how I approach winter garden preparation. While most Western gardening methods treat winter like a necessary evil to endure, Korean traditional practices view it as an essential part of the garden's natural rhythm. The secret lies not in fighting winter, but in working with it to create stronger, more resilient growing systems. Korean gardens face brutal winters with temperatures plummeting well below zero, yet they consistently emerge in spring with soil that's more fertile, plants that are more vigorous, and microbial communities that are thriving rather than merely surviving. This isn't luck or climate advantage, it's the result of time-tested techniques that view winter as an active partner in soil building rather than a dormant period to simply wait through. The fundamental difference between Korean winter garden practices and typical Western approaches is philosophical. While we often focus on protecting individual plants from cold damage, Korean methods prioritize protecting and nurturing the entire soil ecosystem. This holistic approach means that when spring arrives, your garden doesn't just wake up, it explodes with life because every component of your soil system has been actively supported throughout the cold months. The cornerstone of Korean winter garden preparation is what I call soil armor, but this isn't your typical fall leaf mulch. Korean gardeners have perfected the art of creating diverse, layered organic matter systems that do far more than just insulate. These natural blankets actively regulate soil temperature, maintaining a more stable environment that keeps beneficial soil organisms active even during freezing weather. The magic begins with understanding that different organic materials serve different purposes in your winter protection system. Korean gardeners traditionally combine rice straw with fermented vegetable scraps, fallen leaves, and even seaweed when available. Each material contributes unique properties. Straw creates air pockets for insulation while allowing moisture regulation, fermented materials provide slow-release nutrients, and diverse plant matter feeds different beneficial microorganisms throughout the winter months. Creating this living blanket effect requires strategic thinking about layering. Start with a base layer of coarser materials like chopped corn stalks or thick stems that create air spaces and prevent compaction. Over this, add finer materials like shredded leaves mixed with kitchen scraps that have been briefly composted. The top layer should be loose straw or similar material that sheds water while allowing air circulation. This system doesn't just protect, it actively improves your soil throughout winter. What makes this approach revolutionary is how it protects your soil's microscopic workforce. While frozen, bare soil essentially puts beneficial bacteria, fungi, and earthworms into survival mode. Korean-style soil armor maintains pockets of unfrozen activity throughout winter. These microorganisms continue processing organic matter, building soil structure, and preparing nutrients that will be immediately available when spring growth begins. Korean winter composting methods reveal another layer of genius in their approach to soil building. Rather than viewing winter as a time when composting stops, traditional Korean practices treat cold weather as an opportunity for slow, controlled decomposition that creates incredibly rich soil amendments by spring. The Korean approach to winter composting involves creating what I call slow burn systems. Unlike hot composting methods that rely on high temperatures, these techniques use the natural freeze-thaw cycles of winter to break down organic matter gradually. Kitchen scraps are layered with garden debris in specific ratios that prevent anaerobic conditions, while allowing the natural rhythm of freezing and thawing to assist decomposition. One of the most fascinating aspects of this method is the use of fermented materials as inoculants. Korean gardeners traditionally ferment vegetable scraps, rice washing water, and other organic materials before adding them to winter compost piles. These fermented additions introduce beneficial bacteria and enzymes that remain active even at lower temperatures, ensuring continuous nutrient cycling throughout the winter months. The beauty of this approach becomes evident in spring when your garden beds reveal soil that's not just protected, but actually improved by winter. The slow decomposition process creates nutrient complexes that are immediately available to emerging plants, while the gradual breakdown of organic matter has improved soil structure, water retention, and microbial diversity. Your spring garden doesn't need to recover from winter. It launches into growth with a significant advantage. Korean gardeners have also mastered the art of extending growing seasons without relying on energy-intensive greenhouses or complex protection systems. Their approach combines careful crop selection with simple, effective protection methods that work with natural materials and landscape features. The secret to successful winter-growing Korean style lies in understanding plant hardening as a gradual process that begins in late summer. Rather than simply hoping plants will survive unexpected cold snaps, Korean methods involve systematically conditioning plants for cold weather by adjusting watering, nutrition, and protection levels as temperatures gradually drop. This creates plants that are genuinely cold-hardy, rather than merely protected from cold. Traditional Korean windbreaks and mini protection systems use readily available materials like bamboo, straw, and strategically placed rocks to create microclimates that can extend growing seasons by weeks or even months. These systems work by moderating temperature swings rather than trying to maintain artificial warmth, creating conditions where cold-hardy crops can continue growing slowly throughout winter months. The crop selection wisdom of Korean gardeners reveals vegetables that not only survive but actually improve in flavor and nutrition when grown through winter months. Crops like Korean cabbage, radishes, and various greens develop enhanced sweetness and complex flavors when exposed to controlled cold stress, making winter growing not just possible but desirable from a culinary standpoint. Adapting Korean winter garden wisdom to your own growing space doesn't require wholesale changes to your gardening approach. It requires a shift in perspective about what winter can accomplish in your garden. Start by viewing your fall garden cleanup not as putting the garden to bed, but as setting the stage for active winter soil building. The transformation begins with reimagining your organic waste streams. Instead of bagging leaves and discarding kitchen scraps, Korean principles teach us to see these materials as components of a sophisticated soil-building system. Every fallen leaf, every vegetable peeling, every spent plant becomes part of a carefully orchestrated winter composting system that works with cold weather rather than despite it. Implementation can start small and expand as you gain confidence with these methods. Begin with a single garden bed where you apply Korean-style layered mulching techniques. Monitor how this area responds compared to conventionally managed beds, and you'll likely see dramatic differences in spring emergence, soil structure, and plant vigor. Success with one area naturally leads to expanding these practices throughout your garden. The long-term benefits of adopting Korean winter garden practices extend far beyond surviving one cold season. These methods build cumulative improvements in soil health, create increasingly resilient plant communities, and establish sustainable cycles that reduce dependence on external inputs while improving garden productivity year after year. Your spring garden will tell the story of your winter preparation. Beds prepared using Korean wisdom emerge earlier, with stronger plant growth, fewer pest problems, and soil that feels alive in your hands. The initial investment in learning these techniques pays dividends that compound annually, creating a garden system that becomes more productive and resilient with each passing season. Winter is not your garden's enemy, it's your secret weapon for building the foundation of next year's abundance. By adopting these time-tested Korean practices, you're not just protecting your garden through winter, you're actively improving it, naturally and sustainably. Ready to transform your winter garden using these Korean secrets? Subscribe to the Living Soil Lab for more traditional gardening wisdom that actually works, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to revolutionize their approach to winter garden preparation.